Now we're going to start working with the rubrics for the reading endorsement. When I was looking for the International Reading Association standards, I was hoping to find a complete set of rubrics. I did not. So what you see in the Word document that I gave you are the standards. Along the top, there are 6 standards in the reading standards. These were developed in 2010. And along the left side are the substandards or the major indicators for each standard. Then there is a column for exemplary, and these columns are the exemplary column are all filled in. What you'll notice on page 1 is that proficient, minimal, and unsatisfactory are not filled in. And I could go ahead and do these all myself, but what we want is for you to really tailor these rubrics to the artifact you've selected. So I decided to leave those blank and let you modify the exemplary column to reflect proficient, minimal, developing, and unsatisfactory work. And if you need help on that along the way, I'd be happy to do that. But if you'll go on down to the next page of the standard, there's under indicator 1.3, that one is filled in. I did find some sample rubrics developed for NCATE, which is not our accrediting agency, but another accrediting agency that they developed along with our IRA for some of the standards for a reading specialist program. And so I did put those all in, and I think they will be a good model for you to use as you decide what you want. Now let's start with this page since it has a good example. This descriptor may be just exactly what you want for the artifact that you've selected. And so you might leave that whole row in its entirety. And you may massage the language a bit if you need to more closely reflect your artifact. But if you like it just the way it is, leave it in just the way it is. Now these other 2 descriptors for that that criteria may or may not be anything you want to use. I put those in there strictly as options for you. So you may like those, you may think it's all covered in the first one, you might choose to get rid of both of those. But if you wanted to keep one or both of them, then you would need to modify the descriptors to reflect the proficient level, the minimal level, and the unsatisfactory level. So you would put that wording in there. But if you wanted to if those were not things you were going to use, you can highlight the whole row and delete them entirely. Now let's come back down to the next standard and look at some other things that you might do here. Notice that I've only put the descriptor in one time, and then under that it says same as above criteria, same as above criteria. So all of these would be possible things, options for you to use, but they would all come back to this same descriptor, the 2.1. So when you got done, let's say you've decided to eliminate this one, you're not going to use that one. As a matter of fact, you're not going to use any of these 4. Let's just say that, for instance. You're going to come in and delete those rows, and then you've decided you do want to use these 2 descriptors for that criteria. So you're going to find other items to fill in these rows. You're going to create the descriptors for proficient, minimal, and unsatisfactory. And then when we get all done with this, we're going to come back in and we're just going to merge these cells So it shows the one criteria with two different descriptors for it. Okay. Other things that you can do, maybe you want to add a whole new descriptor that you think fits that criteria. We're not going to add new standards. We're going to use the standards right as they're written from the IRA standards. So the first column, you're not going to change the wording in. It's the descriptors that you might want to change the wording in. Now, like I said, you can eliminate whole standards if they don't affect, if they do not have anything to do with your course or your artifact. So it's hard to believe that there wouldn't be anything in assessment and evaluation, so maybe we shouldn't use that one. But standard 4 is diversity. And, you know, maybe there's absolutely nothing about diversity in your course and you want to eliminate that whole learning outcome. You may. But if you choose even one indicator, you need to leave standard 4 in there, plus the one indicator that you've used, and then you'll fill out this row across, and that is what you will submit to me as your rubric for your artifact. Now, when you do this, be very careful, because we're going to come back and we're going to look at your course description, and I'm going to have you take the course description that you submitted to me, or the artifact description that you submitted in the last topic, and you're going to go back in and you're going to indicate where each of these learning outcomes shows up in that assignment. So if you've said you're going to use this descriptor, that will need to show up in that assignment. So be very careful. You have that assignment out and make notes about which ones you're using and where they show up in that assignment. So go ahead, do this. I think this is about a 20-page rubric, and I expect you'll get it down to maybe 2 or 3 or 4 pages for your artifact. So let me know if you have any questions or any difficulties with this, and otherwise you'll be turning it in soon, and I'm anxious to see them.